injuring 90 others. Some were pulled from the Ukrainian Air Force. Combination of over 200 Russian missiles and drones targeted the Ukrainian capital. Roughly half, they say, were shot down. The overnight bombardment taking place hours after President Trump accused Ukraine's President Zelensky of derailing peace negotiations, saying peace was very close. The president, who campaigned on a promise to end the war in Ukraine on day one, today issuing a rare rebuke of Russia. Here's Keir Simmons.
Tonight, President Trump addressing President Putin by his first name, writing, "Vladimir, stop," after 12 were killed. A Russian onslaught on Ukraine, a massive strike. Ukraine's President Zelensky says, how much more this Ukrainian woman pleads.
I didn't like last night. I wasn't happy with it. And we're in the midst of talking peace, and missiles were fired.
The images from Kyiv of families cowering in shelters. Think the president's promises. Very bad timing, Trump wrote in his message to Putin, insisting today a deal is still close.
We're putting a lot of pressure on Russia. I think that they both want peace right now. They're ready to do something.
Though Trump wrongly calling Putin's failure to take Ukrainian territory a concession.
Stopping the war. Stopping taking the whole country. Pretty big concession.
And just 24 hours earlier, his rift with President Zelensky magnified. The Ukrainian leader refused to accept the U.S. proposal to Russia's annexation of Crimea, saying it's against Ukraine's constitution.
I thought it might be easier to deal with Zelensky. So far it's been harder.
Zelensky cutting short a foreign trip, saying it's Russia that has refused an unconditional ceasefire. The Kremlin insisting tonight Putin stands for a peace that respects Russia's interests. On the streets of Moscow this week, this Bruce, but this man urging Russia to keep fighting, and in Kyiv, this woman saying, we do not need peace at any price. Battle-hardened views, making compromise hard.
Keir, what more do we know about these peace talks? Is a deal, in fact, close?
Well, after President Trump's envoy, who was at the peace talks in London this week, General Kellogg, told me today they were, quote, candid, constructive and productive. But the talks are also exposing red lines on all sides that make achieving a deal really difficult. And President Trump saying today, we want it done.
Keir. Turning now to the Vatican, where tens of thousands of mourners flowed through St. Peter's Basilica again today to honor the life of Pope Francis. Tom Yamas is there, and Tom, there's been a flurry of activity today.
That's right, Lester, and we can still see the lines moving here in St. Peter's Square. Blown past that midnight deadline, a second night in a row. City officials are now estimating more than 100,000 people will for the Pope's funeral on Saturday. The aisle inside St. Peter's Basilica like this 2 days now. More than 90,000 people have paid their respects to Pope Francis so far. Vatican cameras capturing this moment, showing a nun who was a close friend of Pope Francis, allowed special access near the casket. She then begins to cry.
He wanted peace, and he was a good man, and he was so kind. I mean, I got really upset when I heard he passed away.
Are meeting daily to finalize plans for Saturday's funeral in St. Peter's Square, with the Vatican revealing new details today, including the libretto, a program with the planned readings, prayers, and psalms. The Vatican says delegations from 30 countries will be there, including 50 heads of state. These American college students told me they will be too.
When I heard that the Pope died, I just instantly came to the conclusion I have to go to the funeral, you know. I very much so respected the Pope, and I really liked him.
Father Patrick Briscoe met Pope Francis 7 times.